Welcome to I Feel Fat Today. I'm your host, Kelly Taylor. As always, thank you for joining me. Please head over to our YouTube to subscribe. There's full video on YouTube, full video episodes on YouTube, and this will be a visual episode. So I suggest heading over there to check that out. When you go over to the YouTube, please subscribe. It means everything to grow that following on there. The more people subscribe, the better chance I have of this podcast going anywhere. Also, I'm seeing people view the episodes, which is great. Love seeing the views go up. Leave a comment, throw a like on there, even if it's a disparaging comment. It all helps the algorithm. Give me your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Thank you very much for watching. If you're somebody that enjoys listening to podcasts only in purely audio form because you're a psychopath, head over to the podcast I Feel Fat Today on Apple Podcasts and leave a review. That helps me a ton. It gets people knowing, or it gets it out there gets the podcast out there to people who may be interested in a comedy, diet, culture, body neutrality-esque podcast, I guess. So that would be great. And even if you're someone that only listens to audio podcasts, but, you have a YouTube account because, you don't live under a rock, head over to the YouTube and give us a subscribe. And if you're somebody that enjoys watching the podcast on YouTube, head over to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and leave a review to let people know about it. And that would mean everything to me. That's all I ask. I don't need any form of payment, but the more listeners I get, the more I can do this. And then, I don't know, I can start a Patreon where there will be even more fun stuff, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Head over to Instagram and follow I Feel Fat Today over there. You can also follow my personal Instagram. Hello, this is Kelly. I post some good stuff on there. And, you need to have at least 10,000 followers to even be considered for a bar show these days. So only 8,000 away. And send us an email. I'd love to know your thoughts on the podcast. If you need advice, if you want to, give me some ideas, suggestions of topics to go over, send me an email. You can email me at ifeelfattoday@gmail.com. All of that information will be available in the episode description. Okay, amazing. Boy, do I have an introduction for you before we get to our guest. I'm really excited about this. I am letting you all know what's happening as the event unfolds. And all I have to say to start us off is that today's intro to the podcast is brought to you by TikTok drama. The best thing, the thing that makes the world go round, and is the reason to keep on trugging along. Last night, Monday night, I was doing what I do, doom scrolling on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. It's all short circuiting. Doom scrolling on TikTok, and I come across this creator that I follow that was very dismayed. She was upset, saying that she was leaving the bariatric cruise, and she was really upset about it, and she was going to explain everything later. And I needed no more information. I was immediately hooked. What do you mean a bariatric cruise? Tell me more now. Do you know what that is? I'll explain. Okay, so, and this is literally everything that I gleaned from last night and today. Now, the bariatric cruise was a cruise that was created, I guess, to for people who have had bariatric surgery. So what is bariatric surgery, you ask? I will tell you. Okay, so bariatric surgery is the medical term for a variety of procedures dealing with obesity. Long-term weight loss through the standard of care procedures is largely achieved by altering gut hormone levels responsible for hunger and satiety, leading to a new hormonal weight set point. So bariatric surgery is weight loss surgery. Now, according to Google, just a few clicks on Google, I found that there are 3 kinds of weight loss surgeries. Now, these weight loss surgeries are meant for people that have a BMI greater than 40, or I'm sorry, a BMI greater than 40, or a BMI greater than 35 with comorbidities. What I'm going to say before I even continue is that I could do an entire episode exclusively just on weight loss surgery. And I can, if you'd be interested in that. So don't go to this as like your source of like what bariatric surgery is, because this is a very, very, very high level. We're just scratching the surface. I just want you to have an idea of what weight loss surgery is so that all of this can make sense. Okay. So the first surgery on the list is gastric bypass. So I think gastric bypass is the one that people may know the most of because it has been around the longest, dating back more than 20 years. I actually don't know when this, article or information was published on this website. It's a .org, so you know it's legit. I don't know when this was on here, so some of the numbers may be a little off, but this says that gastric bypass has been around for more than 20 years. Okay. I'm also going to include a visual here, little visual graphics with my very low level editing skills that I have. Okay, so the procedure involves a surgeon cutting across the top of the stomach to create a walnut-sized pouch. The surgeon then attaches the pouch to the small intestine so that the food bypasses the stomach and enters directly into the small intestine. So if you have a basic idea of the digestive system, you eat the food, it goes down your esophagus, it hits your stomach, it gets absorbed in the stomach, and then makes its way through the small intestine, eventually to the large intestine, and then to your colon, out your beehole. So with the gastric bypass, it takes your stomach, and if you're a fat person, you have a big stomach. It takes your stomach. Basically, think of it as like going from a gallon of milk down to a walnut. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if this is accurate, and I just realized I have my AirPods in, so I'm going to take those out. Hopefully that doesn't affect the video at all. Okay. So that's gastric bypass. They take your big stomach, they cut it at the very top so it's the size of a walnut. It's like yay big. The cool guy sign. And then the surgeon cuts into your small intestine, which is normally located at the bottom of your stomach. They cut that off and they put it to the new stomach that you have, the smaller stomach, the cuter stomach. And then, so now the food the digestive tract is still the same, but it just going from, instead of being in a big stomach down to a smaller stomach. The second weight loss surgery is gastric banding. This is commonly referred to as the lap band. So gastric banding has apparently been around for like 10 years, and it involves the surgeon placing an adjustable silicone band around the upper part of the stomach. So you have your stomach, and it's basically, they go to the upper part of it and they like squeeze it. Of the three procedures, only gastric banding is adjustable. The amount of food a stomach's person can hold can be altered with an office visit by adjusting the tightness of the band around the stomach. I don't know if this is an old wives' tale, but with gastric banding, I feel like I've heard stories about people, binging after getting the gastric banding and then the band like popping open. So there is a threshold there when it comes to gastric banding that I think can be a problem. I do think that the gastric banding is a bit of a serious thing because now you have a foreign object in there, the making your stomach smaller so that you eat less. And the lap band is the only FDA approved procedure / medical device used for people getting this surgery. And then the final one is the sleeve gastrectomy, also known as a gastric sleeve. And so this is the newest of the three surgeries. And the point of the gastric sleeve, how it works, is that the surgeon removes 80 to 85% of the stomach by putting a sleeve around it essentially, and then stapling the stomach shut so that you just have a very small remaining portion of the stomach. So like when you think about gastric bypass, if you're looking at the stomach, they make a cut vertically at the top, whereas gastric sleeve is you're looking at the stomach and they make the cut or input the sleeve so that it's going vertically down the stomach. So with gastric bypass, you have a walnut-sized stomach, and with gastric sleeve, now your stomach looks more like a banana. And so the whole point of that is it restricts you remove 80 to 85% of the stomach. So it restricts that part of the stomach from getting any food to go into it, and it makes you have a smaller stomach. So I hopefully figured out how to put those visual aids on there. And then this visual aid right here is the three different gastric bypass or the three different bariatric surgeries lined up next to each other so that you can also see visually the difference of all three of them. It's really crazy. It seems like the one that is most nuts to me, just looking at it visually, is the gastric bypass, because you know in horror movies when someone gets like sliced through their stomach and the intestine falls out, I think they use like maybe pig intestine or something to like have the small intestine look the way that it looks. But just looking at this graphic with the gastric bypass, when they cut at the top of your stomach to give you your new cute, small, probably going to get booked more than you stomach, the small intestine they have to like pull up and sort of like unravel from your stomach or from where your small intestines are and plug it in to your new stomach. And it's just fucking disgusting looking. But that's that. So those are the three different kinds of bariatric surgeries that I wanted you to be aware of so that all of this makes a little bit more sense. Before I move on, I do want to say that these are all incredibly like invasive surgeries. I think the gastric sleeve is the only one that can be done laparoscopically, which is really disgusting to think about because they don't actually like fully cut you open, but they like go in kind of near your belly button, which just gives me the heebie-jeebies because anything with my belly button, makes me feel weird. That one, you know, they're not like fully cutting you open, so there's less of a chance for you to bleed out, that sort of thing. But, you know, still an invasive surgery. So I know with these different kinds of surgeries, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay. All right. So who is Barry Diaries? So Barry Diaries is a woman named, where is she? Okay, so Barry Diaries is an account on TikTok created by this woman named Cece Chancellor, is how I think you say her last name. But she also has a website and an Instagram, not only a TikTok. I don't know which of these came first. I know that she's very big on TikTok. She has this TikTok. I'm going to refer to this woman, CC Chancellor, as Barry Diaries the entire time. That's her TikTok name. That's her internet name. So that's what I'm going to call her. So Barry Diaries created this community for, when you Google it from their website, Barry Diaries describes itself as a haven for women to bond over their weight loss surgery journeys and provide support around the big changes in their lives. Now that's key. That's important here because an aspect to the bariatric surgeries that is really integral to your success is you need to have a really strong community around you. You're talking about women or people, it's mostly women, but you're talking about people that are dealing with food as an addictive substance. You know, these are binge eaters. These are people that have been completely sedentary and housebound because of the amount of calories that they have been consuming for myriad of reasons, a lot of them emotional. And so they get I'm not saying this is the case across the board, but for a lot of people that do get these weight loss surgeries, there is an entire emotional component to this that I don't know if the medical community or the healthcare system does a good job at addressing, but I have seen a lot more communities popping up on the internet of people that are bariatric patients that then, get together and talk about, just have people to kibitz about. It's like a sorority of sorts. You can think of it. Okay. So the two other women that I'm going to be talking about in this portion of the episode are two bariatric patients. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. So the first woman is Teresa Parent. So she goes by Transforming Teresa Marie on TikTok. That's her handle. So Transforming Teresa Marie used to weigh over 600 pounds and lost 435 pounds pretty much via the bariatric surgery. So she had to get moving when she was 600 pounds because she couldn't stand and have a conversation. Like, that's how immobile this person was. And it took her a year of practicing movement around her house before she could even go on a single walk around the block. And her weight loss journey started 5 years ago. So pause. It's okay. I can cut this out. No, it's okay. You want to get yourself situated?
Yeah, my battery just died.
No problem. Okay. So, Teresa Parent, it took her a year of practicing movement around her house before she could even walk a single block. So she was extremely immobile, very sedentary. But the doctors told her that you're going to be dead by 40 if you don't make some changes. And she was like 38, 39 at being told this. So naturally, she lost 180 pounds, which when you're 600 pounds is a huge feat, but you lose that weight pretty quickly when you weigh that much. So she lost 180 pounds naturally before the surgery, had gastric bypass surgery, and lost another 180 pounds. And this was everything I've gotten from her TikTok. This is all straight, from her, where she says her food issues were deeply rooted in trauma. So the surgery forced her to confront the reason. So I think people on the internet were asking, why did you get this surgery done? You had already lost 180 pounds. Why didn't you keep going? And I really liked that she addressed it because she explained how her food issues were deeply rooted in trauma, and the surgery, now remember, gastric bypass is the one where your stomach is the size of a walnut. You do not have the ability to emotionally eat. You do not have the ability to process your emotions via food. You have to deal with them in a different way. And so by getting this surgery, she was able to confront a lot of the reasons why she was eating 10,000 to 12,000 calories a day. The bariatric surgery got her down to consuming 1,500 calories a day. Now think of that. I just stop for a moment and think. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I do want to get to the juicy drama of the bariatric cruise. But there is something emotional happening there when you are a person that has basically forced yourself into the inability to leave the house because you're consuming 12,000 calories a day. A lot of people don't even eat 12 calories in a week. So you get very big, very fast, and it gets very much out of control. So that's Teresa's story. And I followed Teresa on TikTok because I liked her recipes. And that's how she got the following that she has, is because there are other people like her out on the internet trying to lose weight. And she posts really great bariatric friendly recipes for anyone to enjoy. Okay. Now the second person I'm going to be talking about here is Tanya. Now, Tanya, her TikTok handle is Taking My Life Back at 42. Now, Tanya, I did not follow before today, or before yesterday, I should say, because Tanya is the face, in my opinion, of Water Talk. Water Talk could be another episode all in and of itself. So I'll briefly explain if you don't know what Water Talk is. So anytime anybody is confronted with something that they don't know or they don't understand, what do? We make fun of it or we dislike it entirely. So Water Talk became really big on TikTok because if the average TikTok users knows exactly what I'm talking about. Water Talk is a group of people, an entire lane on the app where people post videos of themselves making quote unquote water recipes. Okay. So these water recipes are, a lot of people have like the 40 ounce, I think Stanley is the new cup that's currently in vogue that people are spending $50 on, maybe even more. It's all just capitalism, but I digress. The cups look nice. They fill up these huge cups with water and ice, and then they put these little sugar-free, 0 to low calorie, no fat, just powdered flavor. So think Kool-Aid, or I'm sorry, Crystal Light. Crystal Light is a more accurate description of what these things are because of like the nature of it being no sugar and stuff like that. So people that enjoy Water Talk are people that put these little flavors in their drink. And so they have these, no calorie, no sugar, powdered flavors. And they also have no sugar, no calories, no fat, quote unquote syrups. Yeah, I guess you can call them syrups. There's no quote unquote there. But these syrups that they also pump into their big Stanleys. And that's the recipe. They put the different flavors together. They'll have like a blueberry Crystal Light flavor that they throw in, a pump of banana and a pump of peach and a pump of cotton candy, and they give it fun little names. Again, legitimately could spend an entire episode on that. If you want to hear it, let me know. I didn't follow Tanya before yesterday because I enjoy water plain. I don't need lots of fun flavors. But once I realized, because I did not realize before yesterday, that Tanya is somebody that had underwent bariatric surgery. So I never really understood Water Talk or why people were super into it. But understanding now that Tanya is somebody that underwent weight loss surgery, it makes perfect sense. Because what happens once you get a bariatric surgery is the foods that you consume and the liquids that you consume have to drastically change. So a few things. The foods that you can consume after surgery, you have to stay to a very strict diet of like pretty much baby food, essentially. And if you're somebody listening to this that has undergone this and I'm butchering it, I'm sorry. This is just sort of the general idea because I've had a few people in my life undergo these surgeries. And so that's my knowledge of this and the quick Google I did before, recording. Okay, so food has to change and your liquids have to change. Like I was looking on Tanya's page and she has a Mountain Dew recipe for water. As a bariatric patient, or really anybody that's on a weight loss journey, you're not going to have Mountain Dew really ever included in your weight loss journey, aside from maybe the occasional treat. So having a Mountain Dew flavored water that's no calorie, no sugar, is a great alternative. And the other aspect of this here is that bariatric patients have to stay away from fizzy drinks. So having like a soda dupe flavor like that is perfect for someone in the bariatric community. Now, the reason why the Water Talk has received a lot of criticism is because, yes, no calorie, no sugar, but they're just chock full of foreign things pretty much, like aspartame and red dye 40, and all those things are not good for you. I am not somebody that is interested in putting all of those fun flavors into my drinks because I will be peeing out of my asshole, and I don't need that in my life because I do that on my own enough without, water talk. But the whole point, okay, I don't think water talk is a bad thing, especially if you're a bariatric patient, because you have to make sure you are consuming a lot of water. It is very integral. I don't think the average person realizes how much little water they actually drink throughout the day. And once you have weight loss surgery, you have to be very mindful of that. So adding the fun flavors helps make sure that these people get their recommended daily water intake that they need post-surgery. Also, people just, no one is allowed to have fun without another group criticizing them. And that's something that I've learned from Water Talk. Okay, so that gives you an idea of who Tanya is. She also had weight loss surgery. I didn't look into what her story is as far as what she weighed, how much she lost, but she was just as big as Teresa. She was, I think, if not 600 pounds, close to 500 pounds or maybe over 500 pounds. So she had a major weight loss as well. And so these two women are quote unquote influencers in their own right, just by virtue of the fact that they get a lot of followers for the different things that they've created. I think Teresa posted a video today how she hit 1 million followers. So these people are popular. This brings us to the bariatric cruise. So last night, I was on TikTok, saw that this was unfolding, and saw that Teresa was on TikTok live with Tanya, and they were talking about this. Now, it was really late at night, and I wanted to stay on the live to get the tea because everybody was posting these very cryptic things of how the cruise went horribly wrong, and we're so sorry to everyone that attended, and we can't say what we want to say right now, but I'm going to hop on live later and tell you. So when I saw she was live, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I need to find out what happened. So I get on the live, and instead of telling us what happened to the people that were watching, they had this person, her name's Nicole, from American Dream Nut Butter, who was a sponsor on the cruise, get on the TikTok live to basically talk about how disappointed she was, how she really feels for this community, and she was really excited to have the company American Dream Nut Butter be a part of, this thing for this cruise for these bariatric patients, and how it just, was a shit show, and they're sorry that this had happened. And I appreciated the sentiment of what she was doing, but just kind of droned on a little bit too long for me to stay on the live and find out what happened. But luckily, because Teresa and Tanya are awesome, they each posted a single video to their TikToks, basically explaining what went down and why it was a shit show. And they are really speaking out about it truly, because I don't know if this cruise was like a trial one for the one that's going to be happening in October, but they were very, very much adamant in saying that we don't want our names associated with this, and we want to warn people that may have signed up for October to rethink this, because what we just experienced is not what you are being sold right now. So I went on to the Berry Diaries website to take a look at what they are advertising for this cruise. So that's Berry Diaries. Let me go over here. Okay, so the cruise, when I look at because the one for October, the information is still on here. This is fresh. I don't even think Cece of Berry Diaries has come out and said anything, not that I've last seen, and it's 9:00 on a Tuesday night. So, okay, so the Berry Diaries cruise, according to the website, says, get ready to embark on a life-changing journey with the most anticipated retreat of 2023. Our getaways are designed to take you on incredible adventures to new and exciting destinations while connecting with like-minded individuals through amazing team-building sessions and engaging talks with top bariatric speakers. Whether you're looking to build lifelong friendships or gain valuable insights and inspiration, our retreats are a perfect opportunity to prioritize your health and well-being in a supportive and uplifting environment. Join us. If I was somebody that was, trying to become or trying to be more ingratiated in the bariatric community, this would be something I would be very, very interested in going to. Now, I also just want to point out that this is like through Norwegian Cruise Line, and this isn't like the Impractical Jokers cruise where like every single person on board the ship is there for the Impractical Jokers cruise, right? There is like a select group of people on this massive ship. Obviously, the community is not big enough to sell out a cruise ship, but just so that you know, the listener, that like this isn't like Barry Diaries cruise ship. This is like your company throwing a party on a cruise ship that other people are using for their vacation, is a way to sort of think of it. So they're advertising this one in October as a 2023 self-care retreat. So they have a few different like events that they are advertising here, and I only want to run through these events because that impacts our cruise drama present day. Okay, so some of these events that are sort of being advertised here for the cruise in October is they have an event called Perfect Storm with Kiwanika Frazier, Sail Away Pool Party with Rizza and Cece, group photo shoot with Sierra Johnson, Girlfriend's Formal Dinner, Red Party, Dancing on the Under the Stars with the group. They have a live podcast with Cece, Caitlin, and Jenna. A group comedy show. I wonder if they're looking for acts they need booked. Karaoke, just different events. Scavenger hunt, girlfriend spa day. Just if you are somebody that would be interested in going through to this cruise, if I was going on this cruise and I saw these lists of events, you better be damn sure that these events are going on, because that's what you're expecting. And that's part of what you're paying for, which, by the way, is not cheap. So the cheapest room is an interior base cabin. So you're basically like in the bows, the shitty part of the ship. Is $432 per person. For a double occupancy, it is $1,663. And then the highest room is for the ocean view balcony cabin is $1,140 per person, or the double occupancy group double occupancy rate of $2,280. Is not cheap. Now, for these cruises, when you go on them, that's not cheap. But if you are the average cruise goer and you are not a bariatric patient, part of what's in that fee is unlimited food. Not exactly something that a bariatric patient can indulge in, because as we've learned, we are reorganizing the guts of the patient undergoing these weight loss surgeries, and they now have very small stomachs that can only take like tablespoon servings of food at various points throughout the day. You really, really, really are impacting your ability to consume food when you undergo this surgery. I really want to impress upon that so that you get a better idea of why this cruise was such a shit show. Okay. So I went over to Tanya and Teresa's pages, which I will also link in the description, so you can check that out yourself, so you can get their full story. I'm going to give you the brief abridged version of that here. Okay. So Teresa and Tanya both made a point to say that everybody, all of the team members, all of the sponsors, everybody that had anything to do with the bariatric cruise trip had wonderful intentions and were sort of blindsided by the sole perpetrator, who we have not heard from their side of things, but the sole perpetrator and the person that made everything go awry and create basically Fat Fire Festival is this person, Barry Diaries. Cece, Barry Diaries. She's enemy number one of this bariatric community right now that went on the cruise ship. Okay, so they both made a point to say that the reason why this was such a shit show was because of Barry Diaries. Now, Teresa and Tanya were both very upset because the itinerary just didn't happen. So this different itinerary that is listed here on the website, this did not happen on this cruise. The cruise was sort of sold to Tanya and Teresa, who both went as content creators who did not purchase their tickets onto the trip. You know, they think Tart Island. Think, you know, that kind of trip. Like, they take a bunch of influencers and, you know, it's a way of marketing, right? So that's what happened with Teresa and Tanya. So they knew going into this that they were kind of going as like influencers, content creators, but their main objective with going, from what I've gathered from their posts, is that they really, really, really wanted to meet with the attendees of the trip, get to know them, talk to them, hear their stories, give keynote speeches of bariatric surgery, how to battle something that they refer to as head hunger, you know, just the trials and tribulations of being a bariatric patient, trying to live your life in the real world. And right away, right off the bat, the content creators were very much isolated from the people that paid to be there. Now, for Tanya and Teresa, they may have an exorbitant amount of followers on TikTok, but these are two extremely normal ladies. These are two people that did not have any followings whatsoever when they created their TikToks. So yeah, they are influencers in a way, and yeah, they're even self-proclaimed content creators, because that's what they are, but they're not looking to be at all separated. They came under the assumption that they were going to be able to meet people that are a part of the Berry Diaries community, because this is what Berry Diaries even markets themselves to begin with: a haven for women who have undergone weight loss surgery, right? Okay, so that was one of the things that they pointed out that really, really bothered them, was that the content creators and the general attendees were very much separated, and it kind of felt like the content creators, the people that were that didn't pay to be there, were getting like almost like an elevated sort of experience than the sorry people that paid thousands of dollars to be there. So that was one of the things that they mentioned, and they mentioned that one of the sponsors was someone called, what are they called? ProCare. So ProCare Health was a sponsor of the cruise, and they sponsored 20 excursions, right? So these 20 excursions were supposed to be raffled off to the attendees of the trip. Well, a lot of people were upset because the only people that won any of the 20 excursions were the content creators and Berry Diaries friends. So Tanya talked about how I was gifted 2 different excursions by ProCare Health that Berry essentially rigged and handed out specifically to certain people. One was for a hot air balloon, and another one was for zip lining. And in that point in the trip, Tanya was so upset that like this wasn't the experience for the attendees that they all thought they were going to get. So Tanya was like, give those to attendees. I don't want them. I'm not going to go on them. And Berry Diaries was like, no, sorry. It's like connected to like your card, your profile. Like this was given to you. And Tanya from Water Talk just didn't use them. She was like, well, you should have given it to the attendees. I want nothing to do with them. They're going to go to waste. Another thing was that Tanya pointed out that I forgot to mention at the top of going into all this drama, is that when Tanya was approached about going on the cruise, she was told that over 300 people had signed up, and she was going to be a part of this great event where she's like ingratiated in with all of these people. And she got there and maybe 70 people came on the cruise, which is fine, but it's a far cry from what she was told of over 340 people. So that's something else that was sort of like, okay, things are a little bit weird here. So the very first day they had a meet and greet, which was nice because the content creators and the attendees, the general admission attendees, were able to, meet with the people like Tanya and people like Teresa and the other people that were, there as TikTok people essentially. But at that, there were heavy appetizers served. Okay. They were supposed to start being served at 5 p.m. And according to Tanya, it didn't come out till like 7ish. Now, to some people, having heavy appetizers served at an event would be just fine. This is a big deal to the bariatric community. A heavy appetizer is an entire meal to somebody that has undergone one of these weight loss surgeries. So that was a big miss. And if I was someone attending that cruise that was a bariatric patient, I would feel very much overlooked, not seen, and sort of like, do you think this is a joke to you? Like, my lifestyle is definitively different after I underwent this weight loss surgery, and you're trying to give me a heavy appetizer. Like, get that out of my face. So that was another thing. And Tanya was pointed out that they got there and was like forced to take TikToks right away. Like, it felt a little bit too like they were chomping down their throats to make TikToks, which from the outside looking in, as a person who is like listening to these influencers who were not paid to be there, but like got free tickets to this cruise, like that is part of the job. But by the way that Tanya was describing this, it seemed like it was a little bit more like they cared more about TikToks being made than like talking with these general attendees. So that also made them feel a little bit icky. And the only night that the influencers were able to hang out with the attendees was on the very first night, but the next day they were right away again separated. Teresa and Tanya both spoke up to Berry Diaries and they were immediately shot down. It didn't matter that as influencers who were there trying to make the experience better for the general attendees, didn't care. They were told to shut up and enjoy themselves, which was upsetting to them. And Teresa and Tanya both said that they tried to have essentially like a come to Jesus moment with CC of Berry Diaries and say that it like to be able to like have her right her wrong. Sometimes you go into an event, especially one of this scale, and you think that things are going to go right and everything goes wrong. And instead of taking accountability, Berry Diaries sort of just like passed the blame and didn't take any accountability whatsoever, and really didn't admit to the fact that this cruise was all about promoting herself and gaining a following, which was really what came down to be the biggest offense to the people involved here. Like, you are basically here for malintent. You did not put on this bariatric cruise for people that really need community. You put it on for yourself. So of the different events that were put on that did not happen, they had a museum tour that was all hyped up, that never happened. A pool party that never happened. There was a select group of people, sort of like the content creator types, and I'm sure any of like the general admission people that like were sort of smart enough to hang around, and basically the pool party didn't happen. It just was like a select group of people enjoying themselves. There was supposed to be a white party that was advertised as like, specifically for the bariatric community that was on this cruise. The white party was put on by Norwegian Cruise Line. So people from the bariatric community showed up to the event, and there were like thousands of people there. There was a cruise ship worth of people at this white party, and there wasn't enough room for them. So they all kind of got pushed out. So they couldn't enjoy the white party. There was supposed to be a scavenger hunt that never happened. There was supposed to be a midnight 5K that never happened. The only nice event of the evening that occurred was the fashion show event. So this is all according to Tanya. So the fashion show event was really, really special and really important to a lot of the people that were there participating in it, because this was something that they could not be doing 500 pounds ago. So it's nice that they had the fashion show event, but something that they have been saying is that the energy and the way that the fashion show went down, of like how it made people feel, should have been the through line of the entire trip, not all of these events that are canceled. And again, I'm going to reiterate the fact that these events are super important, because when you're someone that likes to go on a cruise, you're going on a cruise to eat and to drink. That is not something that is available to the bariatric community. So they were really, really looking forward to these different events as a facilitated way to meet other people within their community and, just try to powwow with people. So at least they had the fashion show event, but that was an event that was only able to be as successful as it was because they sort of like rebelled against Berry Diaries and threw up this woman, Nicole, from American Dream Nut Butter. She wasn't scheduled to speak, but they threw her up on stage and she gave apparently this like very powerful and wonderful speech that like really resonated with a lot of people. And that was really nice. And something that Teresa and Tanya said in their, spill the tea videos of this whole thing was basically like, if that's the energy that we had this whole time, we would not be making these videos. But yet, here we are. So Tanya specifically was explained to everyone that on her TikTok that she was advertised as a keynote speaker. So she was going to be doing a Q&A. She told Berry Diaries, I don't do scripted. The way I am, I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to do Q&As. And in the pamphlet or the information that everyone received, Tanya was advertised before all of the other sponsors that as a TikTok star. And she was pissed off by that because she's like, I'm not here as a TikTok star. I'm here as a person that has had a dramatic weight loss and I want to connect with my peers about this. So Tanya was all prepared to speak about weight loss, and Berry Diaries had messaged her, I think a few days before, what she was supposed to give this speech and say, hey, you are going to do your keynote speech on how to become a TikTok star. And Tanya was like, no, I don't really know how to become a TikTok star. This kind of just happened through me, being my authentic self and sharing this story. I'm not giving a keynote on how to be a TikTok star. So she prepared anyways and was just going to do whatever she wanted. And Berry wanted to cancel the keynote. And Tanya just kind of said, I'm the captain now, and held the event herself and just steamrolled over Berry Diaries and did a pass the mic sort of thing. So there were, people that were a part of this group, that this bariatric group on the cruise, that were able to, be handed a microphone, tell a little bit about themselves, and sort of like an AA meeting. Think of it that way, but like not anonymous. And surrounded by alcohol. But that was the event that Tanya just sort of put on against what Berry wanted. And she said, like, people saw me get into a fight with her, essentially. Not a physical fight, but like a fight with Berry Diaries to say, like, no, this is what we're doing. Like, you've scammed these people, essentially. And both Tanya and Teresa said that there is a lot more of what Berry said that they can't go into because they don't want to be sued for things like slander, which there was some, of course, the rumor mill starts right away on TikTok. And so like right away when people were posting TikToks, like, what the fuck happened on this bariatric cruise? People were saying like, oh, they probably signed NDAs, and both the women had said no. There were no NDAs signed. We're just not going to be, telling you what Berry said about other people and the other things that sort of went awry because we don't want to be sued for slander. And they're putting out these videos and they are moving on from it. They're not going to address it again. So we'll see. But the biggest offense of the entire thing, besides scamming hardworking people on this cruise, is that Berry Diaries created this so she could promote herself, gain her following, and use the clout of other more successful people on TikTok for her own selfish gain. And I think knowing that kind of plays into probably how really annoying it was for these TikTok influencers to be like told like, okay, we're going to make TikToks now. We're going to, and have the phone shoved in their face from the moment they walked in, when that's not the point of it. Like when you think of a Tarte Cosmetics party, the girls are doing get ready with me's, like they're advertising the product. Because they know the name of the game. They know what they're supposed to be doing. They're going out partying with these beautiful full face of makeup. You're seeing how their makeup's not budging. Like it's all part of the marketing. But with this was supposed to be an event for people to get together and connect and have community. And Barry wanted to basically have it be like, a bariatric Tarte Island sort of trip. And people saw right through that once they got on the boat. And that's probably another reason this wasn't mentioned by anybody that I saw on TikTok, but that's probably another reason why the ProCare Health sponsored excursions, who knows, maybe Berry Diaries told them like, hey, gift these 20 excursions and we'll give them to the people with followings. So they'll post videos of them in the hot air balloon and them zip lining and whatever the excursions were that were gifted, and be like, thank you, ProCare Health, as a way to advertise. And that really backfired in Berry Diaries' face, because the people that got them that were part of the influencers were so done with her at that point. They were like, we don't want to go on your excursions and post about them to our following. Like, we're good. We don't want to do that. And yeah, so I'm interested to see if the October trip will happen. I really hope that this gets out to people that have already registered for the October Berry Diaries trip. They're gonna get scammed. They're gonna get scammed if they do this, because the events won't happen. They didn't happen this trip. What makes you think they're gonna happen the next trip? It was very, very poorly done. And if I was an influencer that was a part of this, I would be very upset and low-key embarrassed, and probably would be speaking out against Berry Diaries very, very harshly. And so it's just cool that it doesn't matter where you come from or what community you are part of. Always going to be someone out there trying to get one over on you. So that's nice. And so that's the tea. That's the drama. I don't think anything more is going to pop out or come out on this, and I may have lost total interest when it does. So I may never speak of this again, or maybe I'll give you an update when something else comes out about it. Maybe when Berry Diaries herself speaks out about it. And yeah, so that's that. A little long-winded, but I think it was interesting, and hopefully you found it funny as well. Okay. Our guest this week. Very, very excited for you to hear from her. She is a comic that I met when I was doing a gig in Connecticut, and we have a really great conversation about her major weight loss that she had gone through, and what that was like for her, where she is now. And it's really a really fun conversation. She's very funny. So please give it up for our guest this week, the very funny comedian Ayesheh Mae.
Ayesheh Mae. Hi, hello.
Welcome to the pod. Thank you so much for coming over.
Thanks for having me.
I'm
having
so
a blast.
excited to be chatting with you today.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to do this. I'm like, oh, this is my life.
I love it. Yes. So Ayesheh and I, it's Ayesheh, right?
Yeah, Ayesheh, yep.
Ayesheh?
No, Ayesheh. You had it right.
Ayesheh,
People say
okay.
Ayesheh, and I'm like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong.
It's like I get in my own head, like I had it right the first time. Just make sure your mic's on.
Is it on? It's up, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're
Okay.
good.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, so we met at for me it was a road gig, for you it was a home gig.
Yeah.
In Connecticut. And we both had jokes about body stuff and weight stuff, and just kind of became friends over the internet, which is my favorite kind of friend.
It really is. I was like, oh, we like all of the same things.
We like all the same things,
do,
like
yeah.
same music.
Yes.
From, like Taking Back Sunday to Taylor Swift.
The Taylor Swift and now Vanderpump Rules too. Yeah.
I know. I need to like stop talking about Vanderpump Rules because it's like this isn't going to be out too much later, but like I have some episodes banked. So by the time like this comes out and the episode before this comes out, it's like bitch, we're done talking about Vanderpump, and I'm not.
No, I want to keep that fire going.
Yeah.
Fuel it. We'll talk about it for months now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
and
we'll keep it going.
I have Peacock, so I'm excited to watch Secrets Revealed tonight. I didn't watch it last night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm going to do that too.
Amazing.
Obsessed.
Love it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, I want to just, jump right in, go right off the bat. So when I had met you, you had a joke or a few jokes about having a big weight loss. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I, at my heaviest, and I was always overweight like my whole life.
Okay.
Always. Like I was almost 10 pounds when I came out of the womb. So
just always a big girl.
Always a big girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, always stayed big. But at my heaviest, I was 330 pounds. And that's like, I'm like, because I just remember the weight. Fucking I hate getting weighed at the doctor's office. In general, even, it doesn't matter how much you weigh. It's just like the weird.
Yeah.
It feels like such shame.
Yeah.
And especially even when you're like a normal, even like now I'm like overweight and it's just like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I'm sure like anyone who has tried to lose weight, I mean, I've like tried a lot, since I was like probably 16, which is also fucked up. 16-year-olds should never diet.
Right.
I remember doing Weight Watchers and eating lean cuisines when I was in high school. Like, what?
Very common discussion that we've had on this podcast. Yeah.
It somehow clicked from the number, maybe a picture, you know what I mean? I can't explain it because people are like, I'm like, you just did,
right?
You're whatever. And, so I did keto, the ketogenic diet.
Okay.
And I like did, working out at the gym and I like went like really strict and I did that I was strict for like a year and I lost 140 pounds in a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So 140 pounds in a year. So when was that?
So it's going to be coming up on like 5 years now. It was probably like 2018 was when it happened.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty, I still think of it as recent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, it was a few years ago, but like, I don't know. I also still struggle with like, it's body dysmorphia, body issues now. And like I actually lost more weight and I gained some of it back. And I personally struggle with like gaining weight after you lost weight too. You know what I mean? I'm sure everyone does. And it's just like you look at your skinny yourself and then you're just like, you're like, it's like changing your mindset of like skinny isn't what the desired thing is. And I think like in general, at least you're in your 30s, right?
Yeah, I'm 30.
Okay, yeah. I feel like at least our generation, it was like skinny is pretty.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It's like drilled in your head.
We grew up in the era of low-rise jeans. So like skinny was the only option.
Yes.
Oh my God. So 5 years ago, I have to tell you, 140 pounds in a year, 5 years ago, like I would have gained and lost probably an accumulation of 140 pounds within 5 years.
Yeah.
Like that's really great that you were able to keep it off. So you did it by going keto.
Yeah.
Are you still keto?
No.
And so that's also another thing. Like when you talk about having lost a lot of weight and you were at your, quote unquote skinniest.
Yeah.
And you found that you were gaining some weight back. That's the thing with dieting. Like if you were to maintain being keto, then sure, like maybe you would still be at your skinniest, but at what cost?
Literally, I like tried writing a joke about this because I remember after I did keto, I actually did it for 3 years. I stayed on it for 2 more years.
Okay.
After I lost the weight because I was like, this is a diet I did. I finally worked. I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah.
I also, first thing is never diet people. You develop such an eating disorder.
Yeah.
I already had I already had a binge eating disorder prior to doing keto, and that definitely fueled it. When you're so restricted on what you can eat, it's like kind of sad.
Yeah.
I was like afraid to eat. I wouldn't eat an apple. Someone was like, here's an apple. And I would say no.
The sugar's
bad for you. Like that's like psychotic, right?
Yeah. And it's like, how did we get here? Like, how did we get here? Like, you did something good for yourself because losing 140 pounds is like, you've lost a person.
Yeah.
You've lost a healthy person.
Yes.
And that's like, keto gave you the ability to do that, but yet there are still unhealthy mechanisms happening in your head surrounding that diet.
Yeah.
So did you feel hungry when you were dieting like that?
Not really. I think there is a way to do the diet where you're eating smartly, because I feel like everyone hears keto, they hear it's just like
meat and cheese.
Yeah. Which it is a majority, but like technically you're supposed to get your carbs from like leafy greens, and it's, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be just like meat and vegetables. Like that's what you're supposed to be eating. And when you're doing that every single day and you're not having all this other crap, you'll lose weight, which makes sense. But like, obviously, I mean, I did it too. I would eat meat and cheese all day. You know what I mean? Like
course,
big.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not a health. When I lost all the weight, and then I contacted, or I found, like, you know, Instagram, they have so many like fitness people or like whatever. And I found an Instagram account that I liked, that I followed, and she actually gave like macros where it's like, target protein, target carb, target like fat.
Yeah.
And then I kind of transitioned to that. And that sort of helped me get away from that like diet mindset and transition and eating normal foods, which I do now. But like that was difficult too, like that transition into just like, I don't want to diet anymore. I hate the word diet. I think in general it should just be taken out of our culture.
Vocab.
It should just be eating mindfully and eating healthy, and it's like okay to eat certain foods, but do you know what I mean? I know you know exactly. Like, you know exactly.
You don't have to tell me twice. I know exactly what you mean. It's marketing and capitalism and a lot of other things that has gotten us to where we are with diet culture. Okay, so the next thing I was going to ask was, did you go to like any kind of medical professional, nutritionist, dietitian, but you mentioned that there was a person on Instagram that helped you with like a diet. So that was sort of where you sought to.
That was like the last like couple years where I was like, you know what? I don't want to, it's like, I don't want to be in a diet mindset. I want to be healthier and stuff like that. But girl, I'll never forget. I tried to write a joke about this. I need to go back to it because I was like remembering on the drive. I remember, so my dad was overweight. My dad was overweight his whole life. Very heavy guy, husky guy. And he also, and I feel like that like mirrors to when you're your own children, like he always struggled with weight loss. Yeah. And like, I wish, like my dad passed away, but like, I wish I had now as an adult, like, I bet he struggled with an eating disorder. I bet he struggled with a lot. And I also think they don't talk about it in men as much as they do in women.
No.
And that's sad in and of itself. Cause it's so funny. Cause I remember my dad used to eat prior to eating dinner at home, and he would lie about it. I'm like, I used to do that fucking all the time. Yep. I used to hide food all the fucking time. I know that. Yep. I know that game.
Yep.
And the shame that comes with it and stuff like that. I'm sorry. I'm like weaseling. Oh, it's because my dad was overweight. I was like, I will go on several tangents.
This is what it's all about. Let's hear it.
But no, so I'll never forget. My dad was going to a hypnotist for losing weight, and my parents took me when I was 16 years old to see a hypnotist for losing weight. I was like, and like and as a child, you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so fat.
Yeah.
My parents are bringing me to this person because I'm fat.
When you were 16, how much do you think you weighed?
I remember because I was like thinking about like what I was probably like 180 or 190. I was the same size I was pretty much now. Yeah. Because I was I remember I wore a size 14 David Bridal dress to prom senior year. And also what's wild to me is back then, if you were like a size 10 or above, you were fat in high school. You were fat.
Yeah. I was thinking back to this as well, because I've been just, obviously this is in my head all the time, and I'm like, was I fat?
No.
Or did I feel fat? Because I was told I was fat.
Yep.
So it's crazy to have had I've lived in many different bodies. Yeah. And it's still a work in progress.
Yes.
All podcast listeners, I always want to lose weight, just so you know. Like, that's always going to be the vibe. I'm just trying to like figure this whole thing out. And so that's very interesting that, at 16 and that may sound crazy to you, listener, if you're not somebody that has ever had an adult influence in your life, have critiques or maybe let's call it worry about your body and your diet. But I even younger was going to Weight Watchers meetings with my mom.
Oh my! Okay. At least I think it was like 14 to 16. I think it was like high school when I like started going to the Weight Watchers meetings.
So well intentioned from our parents.
Oh yeah,
it's so well intentioned. I want to quickly ask you. So what was home life? Siblings, parents?
Yeah. So I have two siblings, both older, and they were all of us like did sports, but they were always like busy after school, active. My brother was super active, athletic, in shape. My sister was bigger, but she was a little taller and she was athletic and she was popular.
Okay.
So like that was her vibe. And then my mom she's from Iran. So like immigrant here, tiny. She was 90 pounds when she got married.
So
Little petite. So very little, and she was little. Like my dad was probably like 6'1", maybe like 2, probably like he was a husky guy, like 200s when they married, and then he probably went between 250 to probably 400, over the course of my life that I can remember. And he always same thing, struggled. He sort of maintained the same size, probably like 300 pounds, but then sometimes go down, sometimes go balloon up.
Right.
And then there was me.
And then there was you.
And then there was me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like to ask like about what it was like at home, because when I'm getting the sense that there was like major parental influence in your dieting, and because it's different when you are. We can both only speak from the experience of having been perceived as fat when we were in our teens, and how I think when you're a thin person, I don't know because I haven't lived this, but I think when you're a thin person as a teenager, you don't have the impact of your parents taking you to hypnosis for your health. And so do you remember what the hypnotist was like?
I genuinely do not. I do remember that, like, the only thing I remember is like being woken up from it, because I remember I actually did go under it. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
know. I've been hypnotized before.
And like, for some reason, I just remember that, and I don't remember anything else. But the trauma is my parents took me to a hypnotist.
Yeah, that's
for
the
weight
trauma.
loss,
Yeah,
right?
like, I'm like hypnotherapy for that.
For that trauma.
Session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a hypnotist once. I really liked it. It was on Zoom, and like this was before the pandemic.
Okay.
And I had a boss that was going to see a hypnotist, something for work, and I was like, I like just started stand up. And I still struggle a little bit with stage fright, because I'm just like, I don't like all these people looking at me. Yeah. I need you to laugh because that's where I get my validation. Yes. But I'm like, I don't like you staring at me. And so I was really dealing with worse stage fright than what I had now. And I think the hypnotherapy helped. I did one session. It was on Zoom, and it felt like it lasted 5 minutes, but we were on there for an hour.
Oh my God.
And I remember, like, she got to like a core memory as to why I may have this stage fright. And I was like, that's really cool. But that's just
really cool.
Yeah. So I think hypnotherapy is cool, and it's very funny that they took you to a hypnotist for weight loss.
Yes.
You have to write a joke about that.
I know, all right?
Yeah.
The trauma. I like want to think like, I'm like, someone like, what did he say to me too? I'm like, someone's gonna whisper in my ear, like, and I'm just gonna like be like, what?
Right. Okay. So the diet that, let's say, did it for you.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that terminology.
I don't like it either.
Was keto.
So
what other diets have you done in your life?
I mean, you can name anything.
Yeah.
Also, same thing my mom would buy, like Atkins diets, try these diets. I mean, I've tried just like calorie counting, calories in, calories out. Like if you burn it off, you can eat it and stuff like that. I mean, I probably like, eating in general, all we eat is fake sugar, low fat, fat free,
buzzwords,
all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most thing I think I tried was like always like calorie counting. Do you know what I mean? But then I feel like, again, I definitely had a binge eating disorder, and I think that just comes from, and I honestly, I still have it because it doesn't happen as frequently. Also, I feel like as an adult, you learn what your triggers are, versus I feel like, especially probably, again, teenage years and up, you sort of use food to cope, and at first you don't realize it's an actual eating disorder, and then you reach that point of binge eating where you're and it's like so unexplainable. And I feel like only people that have the disorder understand the, like, like it's just such a weird feeling, and then you can't help it, and it's like such a sadness.
Yeah,
it's a deep sadness.
There is so much that goes into binge eating.
Yeah.
What you were talking about before with how your dad and then you yourself also did this of like eating in secret and then coming home for a meal. There's like an indescribable high in that.
Oh yeah.
You know, I can't remember. I think I do that subtly and I don't realize that I do it, but like a time where I have like realized consciously that this is what I am doing, I haven't done in a long time, I will say.
Yeah.
But when you do it, I remember just this feeling of like, it's like almost giddy in a way, like I'm getting away with something.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Like I'm eating this candy bar and mom doesn't know.
Yeah.
But like you're still it's like I literally did it. I don't know why, again, weird memories. This guy I was dating for like 6 months. I remember I had like this edible cookie dough and I like hid it somewhere in his freezer so he wouldn't eat it and that I could eat it.
Yeah.
And also that he wouldn't know that I was eating it.
Yeah.
Which is again like insane, but it was that high. It's like that weird.
So I noticed a ring on your finger. You're engaged.
I am engaged.
Beautiful, by the way.
So
I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
So how long have you been with your partner?
So we have been together a year and a half, and we got engaged half a year. So so we dated for a year and then got engaged.
Okay, dated for a year and got engaged. I have to tell you, I thought I always knew I wasn't over food shit. Like I feel like that's just like a battle I'll be on for the rest of my life.
Yes.
But I got into my relationship with Joe and it brought to light like so much shit that I didn't realize was weird. I think like the hiding food thing is one of them.
Yeah.
I don't even realize I do it now. Like I have a little area where it's like just my stuff outside of the kitchen, and I was looking through the drawers looking for papers. I had snacks in a drawer, like to the side.
Yeah.
Like no one's eating them. I forgot that they were there, but I needed them there, which is psychotic.
Yes. No,
and
I get it though.
It really, being in a relationship, I don't know what it is, but it just brings to light these things that are in the darkness.
I think also like my partner's smaller than me, that like sometimes like I feel shame or like I'll get upset if like I want to get ice cream, but then he doesn't want to get ice cream. Then it's like, oh, I'm fat. Why do I want ice cream? I don't want ice cream.
Why don't you want to get ice
cream? I know, right? You monster.
And him saying no, he's not trying to make you feel bad.
No, exactly. He just doesn't want ice cream right now. But also, why don't you want ice cream? What's wrong with you?
Why don't you want ice cream?
Right?
That makes no fucking sense to me.
But like, I'll do that, and it's the same thing. It'll bring to light like. This happened like a couple weeks ago where, because we did the Whole30. We actually did Whole30, which I actually did like. It was a good reset because I feel like I was starting to eat too much like processed foods.
Okay.
And so we actually did do that recently, and it was actually good. It's actually helped me because it was like, oh, instead of reaching for something, I'm gonna reach for fruit. Or
Right.
You know what I mean? But but it was like, it was the day before we were gonna do Whole30, and I wanted to go to this special ice cream place. Long story short, we didn't end up going there, and like we could have gone there, but it was like close to them closing, and I was so mad that we were so late that I was like, I don't want ice cream, and I'm like, caused a whole scene with him, and I'm just like, what am I doing? It's over food, but it's that I need, like, it's like the fat mentality. I was like, I wanted ice cream and I didn't get it, and I'm like sad. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean, and I am not a psychologist, even though one might think that I think I am, but that I hear that, and I just hear like your inner child needed ice cream, and that's why you had a fit about it. Literally, because it's like some part of you is having anxiety for not having that thing that like you thought you were going to get. Because at a young age, it was a comfort to you, and you're just an adult trying to figure out how to cope without it.
Exactly.
Oh, so frustrating. So was your sister thin?
No.
Okay.
My sister, same. It's so, we always make fun of this, but because I was so fat, we didn't see my sister as fat.
You were the one that they set their sights on.
Exactly. Because I mean, like I think at my biggest, there was like a size 20 or a size 22.
Okay.
Like I needed a seatbelt extender on an airplane.
Planes.
Yeah. Like it was.
You're tall also, right?
Yeah. I'm 5'9".
5'9". Okay.
Yeah.
So we're honestly kind of
Yeah.
similar. And I'm 5'8", so
Okay, yeah.
my highest wasn't 330. My highest was 275.
Okay. Not bad.
Not bad. So, but it was like not needing a seatbelt extender.
Yeah. Oh,
but
so right on the cusp.
I
a little,
was on
almost,
the
you were on the
trajectory.
right. On the right.
And
Yeah.
that's when I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was like, oh, I can't shop in certain stores.
That's a true feeling. I
Yeah.
remember literally only buying my clothes from like Walmart.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I've had such like this weird up and down relationship with my body because when I was younger, I only bought my clothes from Walmart.
Okay.
Because it was like, that's what I thought I could fit into.
Yeah.
And I think if I like was earnest about like walking into like, say, a PacSun, those sizing was always so small that it was like hard for people that were normal bodied like us shopping there. But yeah, so I forget what we were going on about because I interjected. But okay, so you're 5'9".
I'm 5'9".
Oh yeah, you're
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking
okay.
about. Okay, so when did you start getting tattoos?
So I started getting tattoos. Sorry, probably maybe like a year or two before I lost all the weight. Actually, yeah, it was my mom. So my mom's against tattoos, hates the tattoos, and I think I always wanted them.
Yeah.
Of course, I listen to emo music. Like I always wanted tattoos, and I put it like I didn't do it because of her. And then finally I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I always also wanted tattoos because I wanted to like hide my fat. I was like, my arms are humongous. I want to just cover them in tattoos.
We are literally the same.
Yeah. Like I'm just like, 'cause I was like, oh, at least I'll look cool. And like, you know what I mean? Like
someone will be looking at that and not just the fat arms.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So
that's literally why I started this arm. Is because I'm like, I want someone to look at. They're gonna look at my fat arms anyways.
Yeah.
So let's put something cool on there.
Yeah, which is so fucked up. The mentality. It's like people aren't looking at your arms, being like, "Oh my god, look at her fat arm." Like no one's doing that, but like that's what's in our heads.
I know,
which is insane. Like I'm like everyone's like looking at my like because I have so much loose skin still, and like I have like my arms are like this, and I'm like I hate this. I really do. But then it's like
something that you've struggled with loose skin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so much.
Like enough? Do you think you will like need to get surgery?
So I got surgery.
Oh.
That's why I like show off my stomach all the time on Instagram. I'm such a little slut.
Good for you.
Thank you. No, I like again. That's also like tied to like I'm like being like I'm a hot bitch. I can post a picture on the internet, but also it's like you know what? I'm hot now. I lost all this fucking weight. Who knows when I'm gonna be this hot again? But also like I need the validation because I have body dysmorphia. No. So I did get a tummy tuck. I should show you later, but I had over like 5 pounds of loose skin on my stomach, and it was like when I was like, you know, like whatever, like you could see it like dangling down. Like if I got on all fours, it was like almost like not touching the ground, but it was like, it was a lot. And I kept that for a full year after losing the weight, or 2 years after losing the weight. And then I finally was like, I want to go see how much this is going to cost, you know, whatever. And then ended up getting the surgery, like best decision I ever made. But the thing is, it's like now I do struggle with, I have skin on my back. I have skin on my upper back. My legs, I have this, like, you can even see like the indent of the line of this. And it's like, but then it's like, I know I could get surgery for everything, but then it's like, at what cost?
Right.
Not even the amount of money, which it's whatever. It's like the cost of getting cut open and the mental exhaustion of having that surgeries. It's a lot.
No joke. It is because it's technically elective.
Yeah.
So you're putting your life in a weird place when you're going in for an elective surgery. And you did what you needed to do when it came to your tummy tuck, because I hate what I'm about to say, but you deserved it.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
No, I do.
Like you worked so hard, you lost all of this weight, and then it's almost like hard to reap the benefits of losing all the weight, because I'm sure like your health obviously benefited, but like now you're looking in the mirror and you're like, well, I should be seeing like a flatter tummy.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing loose skin.
It's crazy because I lost all the weight. And when I was single with this loose skin stomach, dating, I know I got ghosted because of it. Like, and which is super fucked up. And even like one of my ex-boyfriends said, and it wasn't out of like meanness, but he did say after the surgery, he was like, yeah, it was kind of gross. And I mean, I get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, it was tough. It was really tough. And like, it sucks because it's like, you work, like you said, you work really hard and then you like get naked and you feel super vulnerable and then you feel ugly.
Yeah.
And but then you learn and whatever. But that was really tough.
Well, because the loose skin that you're describing is not, it's not like she's fat. It's like I don't understand that. Like it doesn't look, it's not that it looks fat.
Yeah.
It just looks kind of like
puckery. It was, I swear, it's so funny though. Like a guy would be like fucking me and I'm not kidding. You could see it like shift and like, I would like watch my belly button just like move like it's on a boat.
Yeah, you deserve that peace of mind. And any other areas of your body, I feel like that you're feeling like, oh, but I could get it here. I could get it here.
Yeah.
That is the dysmorphia talking.
Yeah.
That's the dysmorphia talking. And I think that's what, people have body positivity and body neutrality all wrong. Like you need to accept yourself because society, I think, would look at you and accept this body. I don't think they look at you and think this is somebody that is, is in a dire health concern, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
Maybe mentally, but no, yeah.
I think, yeah.
There you
totally.
Go. Dude, literally, sorry, I'm going to go off tangent, but like, I'll never forget, I lost all the weight and I was hooking up with this guy and then didn't work out. And then he went on to say, you were too big for me.
Oh my God.
Cool. Right. But like, imagine again, like it's crazy because it was only a couple years ago, but it's just like sad that like, especially when you lose all that weight and then just like that, like affected me. Cause then it put me in like a headspace of like, I'm still fat.
Yeah.
Which is, I wasn't,
right.
I also hate the word fat. I like hate saying that because it's like I feel like the word fat comes with such, again, shame and like a bad thing. And like, it makes me say like, I was ashamed of myself before. Like I was fat and now I'm not, guys. Like, thank goodness.
Right.
And it's like, I keep going on tangents. I'm so sorry.
No, go. You're good.
But like, I think even the word fat, I feel like especially growing up in this culture, I feel like it just like sticks with you as being bad.
It was only ever introduced in my life as an insult and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I've never known the word fat to be a good thing ever in my life.
Yeah.
And so I feel like now trying to look at it as something else is something that I'm willing to do, but I'm having a hard time doing it.
Yeah. The body positivity movement, first thing is, God damn it, where was this when we were growing up?
Forget it.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Also, again, there was no cute plus size clothes when we were growing up.
No.
At all. Charlotte Russe and Forever 21, it was the tail end.
Yeah.
And then what was the other? There was like Lane Bryant and
Torrid.
Oh God, Torrid. Don't even get me started. We should just start fuck Torrid. Torrid sucks.
Torrid. You know that their models online wear fat suits?
What?
Yep.
No.
That's why the décolletage always looks so like nice and snatched because they're not as bigger bodied as.
Well, you know what? We don't want to wear their Disney print.
Their clothes suck.
Checkered plaid, weird, flousy nightmare.
Like what? Why are plus size clothing suppliers obsessed with peplums? That shit.
It's the worst for our figure in general.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to us?
It's worse it's bad for a skinny person's figure.
I know, right? You're just like, let's add this little extra inch.
Yeah, I don't get it, and I don't like it. Crazy.
I'm trying to remember why I went down that tangent.
We didn't have like nice stores to shop in.
Yes. No.
Okay. So there's that. What else did I want to ask you? Okay, so when you were before this like big major weight loss, like what was the weight loss like in general for you? Like, did you experience weight loss, or were you just kind of always on this upward trajectory? Or
I think like I would say I was always big. I was
Okay.
probably like I said, a size 14 going into college.
Yeah.
And then in like college, I got a long-term boyfriend, slowly gained weight. At my heaviest in college, I was like 250. And then I remember I did a crash diet the summer of junior year to senior year. My dad had gotten diagnosed with cancer a couple months beforehand. And I was working an internship. And I just remember eating only those lean cuisine pockets. And so I remember I lost a bunch of weight that summer, and I was like a size 12 in college, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so skinny.
Yeah.
And then my dad passed away. I developed a drinking problem. And then my boyfriend at the time, I ended up dating him for a long time. Should have not done that. And he's a wonderful person, and I hope him the best. And it was just, I think my dad died and I felt like I couldn't talk to him. So I turned to food and alcohol. And I definitely I say this to a lot of people too. I feel like there's a phase in my life where like I was a different person. I was the same, like I am myself, but it wasn't me, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was dark sided.
Yeah. And so I definitely, those years in my early 20s, most of my 20s, just steadily gained weight. Pretty much.
Right.
And then I think here and there I would try to crash diet, count calories, working out, you know what I mean? And then you do that for a couple months, you lose some weight, but then you go to you binge and then you just stop again.
Yeah.
And then you turn to food again, especially when you're in a relationship that you feel stuck, you turn to food, especially when your relationship is going out to eat, you know what I mean? So I think I was pretty much steady, and it took me a couple years to like stop. Like I got a DUI when I was 25 or 26. And I think that definitely was like a wake up call for the drinking. And also that I would drink the 1.5 liter bottle of wine every night. That's what, like 8 glasses. That's just alone, just the calories.
Yeah,
that's
the calories in that alone.
Yeah. And then you get drunk, you eat whatever. So, I think it was just like also I feel like when you slowly gain, you kind of like don't really realize it.
No, when you put a frog in a pot of cold water and slowly have it boil, the frog doesn't realize it's in a boiling pot.
You're so wise.
That's a very common thing. Yeah. As opposed to when you just throw a frog into a pot of boiling water, then they realize what's happening. And I completely agree with you when it comes to weight gain and when it comes to drinking, because I think that's something. I don't know the science on this, but I think when you look at people with binge eating disorders and you look at alcohol consumption, I think that there would be parallels. In
probably. That makes sense. Yeah.
Especially like what you were saying. Like there is nothing like getting drunk and then binging on some food.
Oh
like
my God,
that was
absolutely.
my coping mechanism for a lot of my early 20s.
Yeah.
Like really up until recently have I like decided that like that's not something we do anymore.
It's crazy that you say that, because it's like it's kind of true. I feel like within the last even like year, I've made so many changes. It's just like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. That's not good for us.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
Like you can't just because I live right near Taco Bell and Dairy Queen, and I'm like, girl, you're getting too much ice cream and too much Taco Bell.
Oh my God.
They were getting rid of the cherry cone dip. I was very upset. It's like I wept a little that day. I was like, no, it's my jam.
Okay, so I was thinking, it doesn't matter how I got here, but just thinking about like how I drank in college through my early 20s and mid 20s.
Oh yeah.
And how that was just me trying to heal my inner child without going to therapy, honestly. Drinking.
100%.
The way I would act, it would be like a toddler.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Having a tantrum when I would get wasted.
I think it's just like you want attention. I think that was like for me, I was like, I just want to be liked. So I'm just going to get drunk and be the wild one. And I'm going to.
The funny one.
The one that'll do whatever, down for whatever. Like,
yeah.
Blows my mind.
They're not going to say I was the fat one. They're going to say I was like the funny one that likes to drink.
Yes. That's what I like to think. That's what I was like thinking. That's what my friends would think. But it's like, I was like a hot mess. It's like not cute.
I know. And luckily for me and probably for you, but I feel like at our age, when we're doing that, everyone around us is also really lost and not functioning well. So we're all just kind of acting like assholes.
Yes.
So that's why like I can look back and not be too hard on myself because my friends were also
hot messes
dealing with their own shit.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's funny being like not realizing how my relationship to alcohol for the early part of it was just me trying to like find myself and find a personality because I didn't know who I was. I was a fat girl. That's all I was to myself.
Which is so sad that our identities were based off of what we looked like.
I know.
It's so fucking sad. We have so much more to offer, and it's so sad that we're just realizing this now, but it's fucking great that we are.
Thank God. I can't look back and be mad and sad at that. Yeah. Just grateful that I'm here now and know that we've put in the work to get here.
100%. Lots of therapy. But it is crazy, and it does make me sad when you really think about it. It's just like I always thought of myself as I'm the fat girl.
Yeah.
I am the girl with a pretty face. My mom used to say that to me all the fucking time. If you lost 50 pounds, you'd be so much prettier.
So much prettier when you're skinny.
Yeah. Constantly. And not just her. In general, society used to be like, oh, you have such a pretty face. Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like we've grew up in different areas and had these like parallel experiences. And that's how I know, at least for like the US, like this is what it is for just weird. Because our parents, you know, are products of the 70s. Well, maybe not so much the 70s, but like the 80s and 90s were all diet culture. Mm-hmm. It was all, you know, like and early aughts too, all diet culture. And so that's what they knew and that's what they brought down to us.
Did you watch the documentary? It's because you said the 90s, and I'm like, all I think of Trim Spot, Anna Nicole.
She was in my head.
I know, right? I was like, Trim Spot, baby.
I remember that Trim Spot commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can put myself in my room watching that.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's a guy. It's like that's the crazy to in Slim Fast. The Slim Fast shakes those cans, and then I forget who the spokesperson. But I'm like, I remember all of that.
Yeah. I Slim Fast. I've done the Slim Fast diet.
Oh, I was gonna say you asked diets. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. I did Slim Fast. You get the shakes.
It's so demonic. Oh my God. Bringing that to lunch as a high schooler.
Yeah. Oh my, 100%. Oh, this is my meal for the day, and these carrot slices, and then this one little tiny can, lukewarm, because it's been sitting in your fridge locker all day.
Ugh, so bad. Yeah.
Yes.
Power bars were getting really popular at the time too.
Yep.
So I would have like a Slim Fast and a Power bar as my lunch.
And then I would but then it'd be like I would remember I'd get money and like lie. I'd get the Doritos, the twists, the barbecue twists.
Those are so good.
And also obviously a huge call out the stuffed crust pizza. I had to get that.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
not tell mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like because like it's almost like you had to like. Not that we had to report to somebody, but it almost felt like, like I can't tell.
The crazy thing is, and I don't know about you, like I did sports, like I played sport. Yeah. Like I played field hockey and I played soccer and like whatever. And yeah, I wasn't the best player, but I wasn't the worst player. And like, you know what I mean? And it's crazy that still was like, I was working out, but I'm like, I wasn't eating normal. I was told I need a diet because I'm bigger than everyone else. But in reality, I was like a size 12 or 14.
Right.
That's the average size of a normal American woman. And I am going to be a woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the fact that it wasn't like 100, if you weren't 120 pounds or under in high school, it's just like.
Yeah. And like, God forbid we're tall. And when you're tall, like something that I feel like I always struggled with was I would look a certain way and then I would get on the scale and the number would be something way higher.
Yeah.
And I like couldn't wrap my head around that because I would see other people that are whatever the scale was saying. And I'm like, well, I don't look like that because they look really fat, where I feel like I'm like not that fat, you know, talking about myself in high school, but still fat by societal standards. And you know, it's like, okay, something that the BMI doesn't take into account is like your muscular density. They have height in there, but back when I had the podcast just solo and I didn't have this like interview format, I would just like take a topic and talk about it for an episode. And I did one on BMI. And I think it's going to be something I'm going to revisit to remind people that the BMI was made by like a racist doctor.
Really?
The BMI scale. Yeah. First off, like all science, it was only the research was all done on men. So number one, right off the bat,
Yeah.
you know, men and women's weights are two completely different things.
We have different organs. Like, it makes
Different
sense that they should be completely
organs,
different.
you know,
Different gene. Like, everything's different, you know?
childbearing hips.
Yes,
That's all I'm going to say.
right.
Childbearing hips. And like the fact that I ever lived in a world where I had to like feel like I hated myself because I had larger hips is insane.
It's sad that it's like, I wish my bones were smaller so I could fit in. What?
Yeah, like no, genetically I will repopulate the village and I need to be happy and proud about that.
Yes.
Not feel like I'm a monster for it. Because I think something else why the word fat feels so dirty is in my mind I attribute it to being gluttonous and lazy.
Yes.
And loaf-like.
Oh, 100%. If you're fat, you're not working out. You're not trying to
You don't care about yourself.
You eat garbage food.
Yeah, you're trying to die.
Yes. You don't care about yourself.
Yeah.
Which is not the case at all.
No, not at all. This is just my body.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry my body thinks it's in a potato famine. Like, I can't help you. Like, I don't know what to fucking tell you.
I think also it's just kind of like, I'm sure other people feel this way too. It's like, once you like sort of get into your body, like that's your body. Like, I can try for the life of me and diet even more and starve myself. But I'm like, I'm never gonna be 130 pounds and be a size 2. That is never in the cards for me. When I reached my lowest point and it was 170 and I was a size 8 and I was like, and it's like, starving yourself, it's like not a healthy life. So it's like, you know what I mean though? Like,
yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Because even to maintain 170,
yes,
which is someone else's nightmare.
Oh
like,
my God.
They're the idea of being 170 to somebody is like, oh my God, I'm 170. I need to lose weight. But like in this body for you, that's where it's like, okay, this is like without actually starving myself where I can exist. And even then it sounds like it was too much.
Well, that's why like I personally ended up getting rid of my scale. And like the handful of times I've gone to the doctor, I say, don't tell me the number.
Yeah.
Because I think it's tied to a number.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same thing like with our age, like where your age is like, this is a certain thing, good or bad, where you're at. It's the same thing with your weight. If you're 200 pounds, oh my God, you're fat. But it's just like, I actually think I might be 200 pounds right now. And it's just like, I am a healthy, normal, active person who eats healthy most of the time.
Yep.
Who gives a fuck about the number and the size of my clothes?
Yeah.
Why does that matter? And why is it so dirty?
Yeah.
Because I have told that to people. I think I told a lady the other day, I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm probably like 200 right now. And she's like, wow, you don't look it, and like all this stuff. And I'm like, but why? Why are we even talking about that?
If I had $1 for every time someone said you don't look X weight.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's because we're tall. But then it's then they say, oh, because you're tall, you carry it well.
You're so lucky. You're tall. You can gain more weight because you're tall. Like,
especially when you talk to someone the same weight, but they're shorter than you.
Yeah,
and it's carried differently. And then it's like, why are we even having this discussion?
It's infuriating to me, especially in the dating world when you date men and for some reason the good ones are smaller than us.
Always.
I don't know why.
They have chicken legs.
I don't get it. I don't understand, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
How do you feel when a skinny person is going on about being fat?
I usually just like tune it out personally because I'm just like, they don't get it.
Yeah. I'm trying to exist in a world where I can understand that everyone has a different relationship to the word fat.
Yes.
And that when I talk to skinny people about feeling fat is like, maybe for them, when they say they're feeling fat, like it's more like they're feeling out of body. They're not feeling themselves. They're not feeling like in what they think is like normal for their body. But as a fat person, it's also like you have no idea.
Yeah, and that's why I usually just like ignore it, or I'm like, oh my God, girl, you're not fat. Because I feel like that's most of the reason why girls are doing that is because they just need the validation of, no, you're not fat. I feel like my skinny friends, when they do that, need that validation because they're like, oh my God, I just ate all that ice cream. I feel so fat. And I'm like, shut up, bitch. You're going to be fucking fine.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't going to, and in general, that's the thing. And so I feel like, but I think that's what they're trying to do is be like you said, I don't feel like myself. I'm bloated right now. I need the validation.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying I feel fat to contradict the bloating from our meal or whatever, you know?
I know exactly what you mean. That you brought up bloating. The rage that fills inside of me when a skinny influencer like shows their stomach sticking out, being like, this is it. Sorry, I have a uterus. Like, go fuck yourself.
Seriously.
Sorry, okay. This is you standing up straight in a photo, and this is you slouching in a photo, and there's like little rolls.
Yeah.
Go eat a dick.
I hate them.
Go have a cheeseburger, you skinny cunt.
I know. And then they're like, when they post like, oh, this is what I ate in a day, and it's like they act like it's a lot of food, but it's really not.
I know. I'm like, I could never post what I eat in a day because I eat what you eat and I'm starved.
Yes, I would be malnourished. I'd be like, how do you live? I'd be like foraging. I can't.
I know.
I don't know if you have this, and I think this is also making me learn my female friends and like who I want in my life, and it's probably why I don't have many, because I think it's hard to come. I think in general it's hard to come by good female friendships. But like I remember this happening. It was like last year in like a group text, a bunch of these female comics. And then this girl was like, oh my God, I really need to fit into this dress. I'm not going to eat anything for the rest of the day. And I consciously was like, I don't like that. That's triggering for my eating disorder, all this stuff. So I said like, oh, can you not say stuff like that? And then another girl in the chat was like, oh my God, thank you for saying something. Like, I am also uncomfortable with this. Whatever. Group chat goes on, and I'm like, glad we stopped talking about it. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Then later, like a week later, we and her were hanging out, and she's like, I can't believe you did that. I was joking, obviously. Like, and I was like, in the moment, I was like, okay. And then I stopped being friends with that girl the day after. And, for other reasons too, because it makes you realize certain things. But like being like, I feel like people don't realize that either, but they also don't, like, she didn't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're triggering my eating disorder, and I'm telling you, and you're being like, get over it.
She didn't like that you called her out.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is, though, I think people think it's like, oh, get over it.
Right.
And it's like, no.
Yeah.
This
like,
is a big thing that you and I will carry for the rest of our lives.
Right.
I will always have a difficult relationship with weight. I hope one day it'll be easier, and I'm getting to that point with, you know.
There's just a lot of unlearning and a lot of like just different coping mechanisms, trying to discover those as a way to hopefully get out of this hell.
Right.
Because like also as comics, we have to deal with men making fun of fat people.
Yes.
And I remember Andrew Schultz had a Netflix special. It was the one where he was like just sitting in a chair with a white background.
Yes,
and he was like, so he did a thing on like
different topics, right?
Yeah. It was all different topics, and he probably had like 5 minutes on like body positivity, and like as somebody who struggles with their weight and who has really issues with eating disorders and all that stuff, I watched that, and as a comic I was laughing, but as a fat person I was hurting.
Yes.
Because it's like and so it's hard to exist in this industry where I feel like hot people get things faster.
Oh my God.
Which I hate. I
So
don't
true.
want to sound like I'm just like saying that I don't need to work harder. Like I understand that there is like the element of being funny is also in there, but like it's just I see what I see. Like
Yes.
I you know, and so there's that aspect to it. And it really was sort of the impetus for me to really try to like get in here and discover like what is going on. Like, why am I triggered by this stand-up special or that 5 minutes of the special? Like, why am I triggered by someone in the group chat saying that they need to not eat all day and to fit into something? And can I let them exist, or should I speak up for myself? You know, and that's another thing, like speaking up for yourself, advocating for yourself. I am like conditioned to like not get in anybody's way,
Yes.
to be quiet.
Yes.
So for you to do that was actually very, very courageous. I find myself when I'm in group chats and, you know, people talk about how fat and gross they are, I just like don't.
Yeah, you're like, don't acknowledge.
I don't acknowledge. I don't say anything because in college I was very, very sensitive to it. So like when my friends that were smaller than me, but had these very legitimate feelings of not feeling good about themselves, and so they would be like going on about how terrible they look, I would of course turn it on them and say, well, if you look like that, if you say that about yourself, what do you think of me?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, Kelly, like it's not fucking about you.
Right.
Sorry to break it to you. You know, so it's like this weird space to exist in where it's like I want to heal and I want people to be able to express themselves, but I also don't want to be triggered, and I'm also kind of mad at you and I don't know how to express it.
Yeah. I think it's that awkward, but I think I think I'll be 34 this year, and I think the older we get, the more it's like, this is my life.
Yeah.
I know what my boundaries are. I know I'm learning. I know what my triggers are. If I express it to you and you're going to continue to do it, then I won't have that in my life. Like I have so many people like muted on my Instagram, unfollow, all this
The
stuff.
mute button is such a good button.
Especially in the comedy world. It's like because you know what I mean? The unfollow game. Granted, I unfollowed that girl, but like, whatever.
You needed to send a message.
Yeah, I did. I'm glad. But like other than that though, it's just like learning. It's learning that.
Yeah.
And I forget who the author is, but I have this book and it's about like the concept of rewiring your brain, and it's I like love it. Yeah, but like it's all about, you know, being present and mindful and all that stuff. But I think it's 35 or 32, but it's like in your early 30s, it's your brain is fully wired. Like you can literally run on autopilot, which is kind of crazy to think about.
That's nuts to think about.
And so there's so much of these, like you had said, so many things. It's like even me, like people pleasing, all this other stuff. Everything is hardwired in your brain because you've been acting this way for your fucking entire life.
Yeah.
So now you have to unlearn doing that and then relearn. Okay, well, wait, what do I want? Or like, how do I want people to treat me? Or how do, you know, it's a lot. I think it's going to take time. And I've learned, especially this year, you know what I mean? Like I am getting more comfortable setting boundaries and first thing, learning what boundaries I need to set, and then actually setting them and then actually holding true to that. I think that's like the biggest test. And then trusting the process of what you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so I think that's what fucking life is too. And that's part of this journey. You know?
Yeah. As someone who is, who I consider myself conflict averse, when it came to setting boundaries, I was terrified. I needed to set boundaries out of sheer just self-preservation.
Yeah.
I needed to set boundaries because I was like in so many areas of my life where I was going to die, like the wheels were coming off. I needed to set boundaries, but I was so scared because people hate boundaries.
Yes.
People do not like when you are deciding that what they're doing no longer works for you, and you are going to put that out there and say, that doesn't work for me. My favorite thing, I heard Kristen Bell say it, it came from her therapist, and she said, honesty without tact is cruelty. And so I keep that in mind when I am setting boundaries, and I try not to be like, this doesn't work, and, you know, come in a situation with hate or malice. But I'm, you know, when something isn't working, just either it's a silent agreement with myself, okay, I'm not going to engage with that person in that way, or actually like say, hey, this is a line in the sand that I'm drawing, and we don't talk about whatever, you know, insert boundary here. And there's a few things that go into boundary setting, and I think communication is one of them.
Yes.
And just being able to deal with the fact that when you're setting a boundary with a given person or group, they're going to feel as if you've just slighted them hard. But and I'll let you speak, but I have to say, the number one thing that my therapist told me was, we create boundaries to keep people in our lives, not kick them out. And I was like, wow.
I love that.
That hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, feeling as if I set this boundary, then this person's not going to want to associate with me anymore. But if I don't set this boundary, I can't have them in my life. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. That's that for boundary setting.
No, 100% agree. I'm like, I don't know where the bound. I'm like, I have bound. I'm dealing with stuff with my mom right now, so I'm like, that's another like topic. I'm like, that's nothing with this stuff, but like, I think people are just selfish and like to make it about themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it kind of is about you, but it's also like, I think people get upset. It's like, well, you tolerated this behavior before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Because I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Because like, why would I allow all of you to do X, Y, Z for this long?
Yeah.
Because I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I'm not anymore.
I heard a great tip on TikTok that was like, excuse me, you can say, well, because to acknowledge the before part of when you did deal with it is to say, this no longer works for me.
Yeah.
Because
I
to
love
acknowledge, to say like, yeah, I did used to put up with this.
Yeah.
And we don't have to talk about your mom.
Yeah.
But I will say that something that boomers and I think early Gen Xers have a hard time dealing with is that it's not that I am calling you out for shit that I am dealing with now that is rooted from my childhood. It's that I am acknowledging it and because I need to in order to work through it. And they take that as a personal affront, an offense.
And also they take it and they also will pretend. They'll also pretend like stuff didn't happen.
Oh, revisionist history. Totally. Everyone deals with this.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, which is funny. But I think I definitely think my mom is from another culture too.
Yeah.
So she is this like culturing. I mean, my dad died 11 years. Let's go off on a tangent. My dad died now 12 years ago, actually 12 years ago. Yeah. And my mom, first thing is my dad was the only guy she's ever been with.
Yeah.
And then he died at 61. Like my mom was young.
Yeah.
Never wanted a
young.
boyfriend, never wanted to remarry, doesn't want to, all of that stuff. Like that's her mindset. And like that makes me so, I don't know, I'm going on this tangent of like, but it's like for her mentality, it was like she was raised of like, you become a wife, you get married, and like you have kids, and that's it.
That's your life.
That's your life. And and I know that's ingrained in my mom, and that makes me so fucking sad.
This is why I have a problem with tradition.
Yeah.
I say fuck tradition, honestly.
Preach.
Because she has it ingrained in her head. And like she was on the pursuit of a happy life.
Yeah.
But what happens when your husband dies when he's 61?
Yeah.
Then what? Then what do you do?
She's just like miserable and sad. It's really awful.
And it sounds like, again, armchair therapist here.
Love it.
So she doesn't have a husband. So who does she have? She has children.
Yeah.
That she can badger.
Exactly. And lash out to constantly. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, and that's the thing is also, and I'm sure I struggled with food besides, and this is, I don't know if this is about you, but like for me, I remember, and this sounds so messed up, and I hope if people do listen or watch this will relate. I remember not wanting to lose weight because I didn't want to make my mom happy because it's all she wanted and talked about was me losing weight. And I was like, fuck you. No, I don't want to lose weight. Yeah. And I remember that, and it sounds so crazy, but I remember that was a mentality for a very long time in my head, definitely through my 20s. And like the more she made me feel shame for being fat, the more I was like, I'm going to get fatter. Go fuck yourself. And it's like, you know what I mean? At least that was like,
no.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
I hate when I say, do you know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I experienced the opposite of that.
Okay.
I felt like love was conditional. And if I'm fat, then I don't get the love.
Oh,
and so my pursuit was like, I need to lose the weight so I can get the love. But I completely can empathize and understand why one would feel, F you, I'm not going to fucking lose this weight.
Yeah.
And because I think as I've gotten older, I sort of had that relationship a little bit with some people in my life where it's like, I want to kind of stick it to you, but maybe that's just a coping mechanism for not losing weight. I don't know.
I think it's the more annoying part when hot people tell you have to lose weight.
Yeah.
I remember I actually remember I worked at a gym in high school, and I worked out, did sports. I was just a bigger person. But I remember like working out, I worked at the gym, and like I would get comments of like, how do you work at a gym? Like stuff like that. And I'm like 16.
People are sick.
You know what I mean? And like, fit people and like, or giving advice. And I'm like, again, I'm a child.
Right.
I'm
a child.
I am a child, and you're telling me I need to lose weight or you can help me lose weight. I'm like, what's going on? And it's and especially God, it was the worst if you're skinny. So many skinny friends in like college and stuff like that. I mean, yeah. But we love them. I love all my friends.
I know.
I do. I love all my friends. All my friends in my 20s that I still have. That when I'm just like, it's so funny because I'm like, you guys never told me how big I was, and I was like, you're right. I wasn't. I wasn't a fat friend. I was the funny, fun friend, which makes me feel better. I guess I'm like, you guys didn't see me as fat. I love you.
Yeah, I don't know. And like we all, I think, have a different relationship to like what is fat for us. You know, like how we
in my head, it's like my 800-pound life, like those ladies.
Right. Yeah. 1,000-pound sisters.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
I got to get them on the pod.
Oh my God, yes. Talk to them.
I would love to get them on. Okay, we're kind of winding down here. So let me see if there's a question I can like sort of have us go off here on. So let's see. I don't know why I'm blanking right now.
That's okay.
We've talked about such good stuff.
It's because I also will just interrupt and go on a tangent.
No. But for me, I'm like, I always choke at the end of a set. And like that's when it matters.
Yeah,
you know,
this
like
is the most.
Want to leave on a laugh. Like I get the light, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't even know why I'm on stage.
And then you do like your worst joke, and then you're like, why did I do
like,
that?
Okay, well, of course this goes exactly as I thought it would.
Yeah.
Thanks for the lackluster set, guys. So like, what are your thoughts on diet culture in general? Like as somebody that has stuck to a diet, doesn't maintain that diet any longer because it's not sustainable.
No.
What are your thoughts on like you're on TikTok, right? You scroll?
I'm a reels. I'm an old lady. I like scroll through reels, but yes. Oh my God.
So you see stuff about like diets and stuff that come up.
I follow so many fitness accounts.
Yeah. What do you think about people being, because right now the zeitgeist is protein. We're all protein girlies. We have to have tons and tons of proteins. Whereas, before I think it was like no sugar. You know, we don't touch sugar.
Absolutely.
Cut sugar out. Your life will change for the better. So like, what do you think about diet culture in general?
I think I like the shift that we're making in regards to wanting to be healthy versus skinny. I feel like at least in my scrolling, I see more people focusing on strength, which I think ties to that protein. I personally, I know there will never be a day where there isn't diet culture. Yeah. I know that won't happen. But I do think it's going in a better direction. I hope, although everyone's talking about Ozempic and all that.
What are your thoughts on Ozempic?
I mean, did Denise talk about it on the pod or no?
She did.
Yeah. Because I know she tried, doing it, and I know all the celebrities are trying it, and like, I don't know, it's diabetes medication. Like, it's not a weight loss medication, and like, my friend tried it. Okay, like that's fine and that's great, but like, I don't think that's healthy, and like, I don't know how, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I can see it and it works for people and stuff like that, but like, you know what I mean? I feel weird about it.
I hate that. What I hate about it, well, okay, I don't want to say I hate Ozempic because I don't hate Ozempic because I do think that everybody deserves to live in the body that they feel like they want to live in.
Yes.
I have a problem with skinny celebrities using it.
Oh my God.
I don't want to say celebrities because like, of course there's fat celebrities and celebrities with diabetes. I'm not talking about people with diabetes. I'm talking about skinny celebrities.
We're talking about Mindy Kaling losing a bunch of weight and then saying it's from running and eating healthy. First thing, admit to it at least.
Just say that this is what you're doing. Like the housewife, I think it was Dolores, who was like, she got so skinny and she was like, of course I got on Ozempic. I fucking respect that.
Yes, 100%.
I don't have to like it. I don't have to even have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate the fact that she said, because guess what? Who's gonna really what I have a problem with is a few things. My one thing is someone like yourself who lost 140 pounds.
Yeah.
Someone then saying, well, she probably went on Ozempic. And it's like, do not discredit the work that I've done. Yeah. Not that you need to be worrying about what other people say. I'm saying in my own head.
I understand. I think it's like, I think as someone who has lost the weight, from my mentality, it's like a quick fix. It's like any other crash diet. It's like anything. It's like you're throwing money to. It's like the Noom pill. I remember my mom wanted me to go because that's been around actually for a while,
long time.
But it's like making its round. It got like an Instagram boost, or like they hired a young person. They're making like diet pills hot again.
Oh no, my goal is to be banned by all those accounts by like rage commenting on all their posts.
I'm obsessed. I need to start doing that.
That's like my therapy.
But like, and so I feel like they're trying to make it also like cool, like it's cool and like fun.
Trim
and
spa,
like,
baby.
So Trent, I know, Trim Spa baby. She was so cool. But I think it to me, again, it's not, but it's like people who got like oh my God, I remember. Oh, I say my mom took me to an appointment to go get a gastric sleeve. I was like, I remember that.
Yeah. I remember my mom saying something to me about, maybe it wasn't the sleeve, but it was some sort of gastro surgery. She was like, you could look into it. And I wanted to just be like, you know what? It's not like I haven't thought of it. All right. I'm fucked up in here.
Yes.
Like I don't need a parental guidance telling me that. Listen, she was coming from a place of love, I'm not angry at her for that because she just, wanted to help. But, it's just like, I think that because people have such complicated relationships with, body and dieting, I don't want to say like, oh, these are quick fixes or oh, these are cheating, but I worry about transfer addiction. Yeah. Because it's like, all right, I am no longer able to eat the foods that I love. I'm going to have an alcohol addiction now or a marijuana addiction, something like that. I sound like a fucking grandma. But, I worry about that. I worry about the fact that we're not really getting to the underbelly of why we ended up in the body that we were in that would result in needing surgery or pills or shots, stuff like that. How are you going to feel if you gain the weight back? Like all that kind of stuff. It's like, I think that with Ozempic or any kind of medication, it should have to be in tandem with therapy.
100%. And it's so funny because I think the way you said it too, a lot of people think you're going to be happier if you lose weight and skinny is happy. And like, I lost the weight and I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And also more fucked up things happen. People are nicer to you when you're skinnier. You
get more.
You get so much more. And it made me so sad. I went through this for a while where I was like, you people ignored me my whole life. And now you want to be my friend or now you want to hit on me or all of this.
It's a mind fuck.
It's so fucking sad because it's like, I didn't change. I mean, like I did, but like I didn't change. Like my personality is the same.
Yeah.
And like all of this stuff. So like, it ties to that though. 100%. That's why I think like, losing the weight, I mean, granted, a year is really quick, but like I do think it's like if you can, I mean, also some people can't lose weight because of health issues and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's hard, you know what I mean?
PCOS,
but it's like, yes, it's a lot.
Insulin resistance. There's so much.
I think it's more tied to like not wanting to lose weight to be like skinny and hot. I really like, and I liking this shift and I'm hoping it continues. I just want the shift of like, it's healthy. Like, let's all be healthy.
Let's be healthy.
Has nothing to do with the number because you can be a bigger person and you can be healthy, like, and I think that's the key. And I think, I don't know.
I agree with you. I think that you've hit the nail on the head.
But it feels like skinny is coming back and I'm not a fan.
I think that's my biggest problem with celebrities and Ozempic. It's because it's sort of turning
it's going back to the 90s skinny chic.
And like because they're like the trendsetters, right? Like when they had big butts, it's like if you had a big butt, you can feel good and happy about the fact that you had a big butt.
I loved that era.
Same.
Best era.
It's
still
ever.
lingering, which is great.
It's lingering because like all of a sudden now it's not embarrassing for guys that are, and for I shouldn't say guys, but I'm gonna say guys, are being to like full figured women and big butts.
Yes.
So Sir Mix-a-Lot had to like literally put out a song pontificating about how much he liked big butts because people in the 90s didn't like big butts and he liked it and couldn't lie, you know? So I think that because we were going in a good direction with like stores having more inclusive sizing, it's like as a society, people can sort of say like, I am into this. Like, I don't need to just be into skinny chicks because like my friends are and I don't want them to make fun of me. But with Ozempic and people, celebrities, the trendsetters now becoming more thin, I do worry that it's like we're going to get back to a thin is in kind of
no, I hope not.
phase.
Yeah.
And it's like, all I can do is, exist in the body that I'm in and
Yep.
try to be as healthy as possible and have my tribe around me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's as always complicated and annoying.
So complicated, forever a struggle. I know we're ending, but I'm like, I struggle with when I can't wait to get I can't wait to get married, but I can't wait to have kids. I am so mortified to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. And I have no idea with like Khloe Kardashian or Kim Kardashian whether or not they could carry their kids. But like there was,
They all
saying
get
Khloe
surrogates
wanted
now.
to get a surrogate 'cause she didn't lose her body. And I'm like,
Right.
that's so sad.
I know.
That mentality. But like, I get it. It's not, it's
Oh,
fucked up as it is.
100%.
It's like, I'm so afraid to get bigger.
Yeah. No. So what's your relationship like with your body now?
It's usually good. No, not usually good. I'm going to say like 70-30, maybe 60-40. I definitely struggle a lot. I think I think I look bigger. I think and I think the one thing I'm working on right now is I work out a lot, and I've tried to shift into, I want to become stronger. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be a stronger person. And I'm starting to notice being like, yeah, your thighs are a little bigger, but your thighs are so fucking strong, girl.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to
bigger 'cause
tie
there's a
that.
big ass muscle underneath it.
And so I think I'm trying to tie that and being like, you want to be strong. You want to be bigger. You want to have these muscles.
Yeah.
So you can carry yourself. You can you can lift all your groceries. You can move all these things. So I think because I had lost, and I think like I said, I think I've gained like 20 pounds back from my lowest. And I struggle sometimes with thinking I look like the bigger girl, or especially, you take pictures with other people and you're the biggest girl. Even when you lose the weight, you're still the biggest girl in the group. Sometimes when I see pictures, I'm like, I think people with body dysmorphia understand it. I look at myself and I'm like, I feel like I look like I'm 250 again.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm the biggest girl in the group. And thankfully it's better now. But I remember even with like the last few years, like it definitely borderline anorexia, like not eating, stuff like that. And because, my stomach isn't flat. When I got my surgery, this is very true. When I got my surgery, I had such a bad eating disorder after, because I was so strict with my food. Because I was so worried about gaining weight back. You couldn't exercise for 8 weeks after the surgery.
Wow.
So I was insane. I remember I like yelled at my boyfriend at the time for like oatmeal I was making, because I made it so like diety and healthy. And I got mad at him for how he was making it. And I like felt like, because I'm like, I don't eat normal.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like getting angry over a food choice.
Food choices. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry I keep going on these tangents. We're wrapping up, and I'm just like going to.
No, this is perfect.
I'm like, I can
stop
talk about
apologizing.
This forever. I can talk about my body issues forever.
I can tell you to stop apologizing, because I'm never going to stop apologizing.
That's us. I swear to God, people pleasers.
Yeah, it's sickening. It's sick. Okay, so I do want to touch on quickly.
Yes.
So you want to have kids.
I want to have babies. Yes.
You want to have babies, which is so cute and adorable, and I love that.
A lot of people. I feel like our generation, it's not a thing.
No, it's
which
not
is fine. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Whatever.
it's cool.
Get your babies. Get your animals.
We do indeed have another generation. So the people that want to have kids need to be having kids.
Yes.
But it's interesting that you said, you're terrified about how this is going to change your body eventually. And I think that our mothers silently worried about this kind of stuff. And then like, instead of talking about it, sort of like dealt with it through actions that maybe weren't the healthiest for the people around them. So I think when it comes for you, like you have already been on such an insane journey with weight loss and existing in different kinds of bodies and seeing how society treats you. When it comes to you eventually having a body that is bearing children, which is fucking insane to think about, it's just a part of the healing journey. Yes. I think
there is a woman, I forget her name, I follow on Instagram, like it's Birds Papaya is her Instagram, and she is a woman who was bigger and then like lost a ton of weight, like just, got super skinny, and then had a baby with her new partner that after she was skinny, and like she talks about, and she hasn't lost the baby weight, and also the pressure of society, lose the baby weight,
you got to snap right back,
and the healing journey of understanding. And I want to get to the point where it's like, my body is a vessel, I carry life in here. This is like, this extra whatever is from the life that I carried inside of me, and I'm trying to do that in the mentality of, I lost all this weight, like this loose skin is just evidence I did an amazing thing, and this is just my body. You don't have to cut it open to, so I'm hoping that I get to that point of, when I do have children, whether or not I lose whatever happens to my body's going to change. Your hips push open. My friends have told me, I don't know if anything else. I remember my friend Holly telling me how she felt her ribs, her hips move. I was like, oh God. But your body physically changes when you have children, and I think getting to that point of acceptance, I hope to get there. I'll keep if we're still friends, I'll keep you posted.
We'll be friends.
Yes.
I'll come to the baby shower.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, Ayesheh Mae,
oh my God, I'm obsessed with you.
Thank you for coming on here.
I had a great time.
Yes, I'm so glad. We'll definitely have you back on. And this has been I Feel Fat today. Where can people find you? I'm sorry.
You can find me on Instagram or on Facebook. Ayesheh Mae. Kelly will spell it out.
It'll be in the show notes.
And yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love the concept of this, and I'm really excited to listen and watch you grow. And it's a great topic to talk about. So
thank you so much. All right, guys. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you. Bye.